parks in the city, she would definitely put me in touch with him. Then we had a nice chat and I didn't think too much about it and I left. And 2 years later, someone from her office called me and they said, we want you to come and propose, meet an architect and pitch for about 7 sculptures for a tech park. So that's completely random, right? I mean, I just literally used my imagination and my intuition and there it connected me, and subsequently I did with them, I almost did about 15 sculptures with the same client. So here I was not following any logic. A business person would follow logic, they would have a structure. But here I kind of approached it in my own imaginative, non-linear thinking is something that I'm good at, and it's somehow, that has always helped me. My instincts and this kind of finding what I need, no matter how I go about it. Maybe I don't start off, I think, I'm just, again, this is a very creative way of going about it. Then I realized somewhere down the line, I would like to have a more structured approach to it. I have a few friends who are entrepreneurs, I see how they work, they run startups. Without the mic, right? Hello? Is it working? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah, so I realized there are a lot of parallels between an artist and an entrepreneur, and today that's how I see myself. I think I'm an artist and an entrepreneur, and I love being that. I love, this whole aspect of being an artist and also building your own ecosystem. Why should you wait for someone else to do it for you? So now, as artists, I shouldn't say speak for others, I tend to be a bit emotional. And using intuition and all of this is great, but then apart from that, what I noticed that entrepreneurs also rely on is data. Data doesn't lie. So if you use data, if you have a plan, if you use a little bit of a more structured approach, you can take yourself much farther. And that, I think, in the past 2 years, I've done that consciously, and it's really helped me stay focused and, reach greater milestones. So I think I really like to stress upon this point of having some kind of plan and some kind of structure which artists don't like, and we don't do it consciously, but if we do, then it will definitely bring in better results, because then it takes your emotion out of it. Otherwise it's very easy to say, oh, I approached 5 gallerists but nobody responded well, and then you stop. That's not how business works. You have to keep trying. If that one door closes, something else will open. You try 5 things, maybe all 5 won't work, but some 6th thing may happen which you didn't anticipate. So these are things that need to be taught, I think, in art schools. So art students need to be empowered. They cannot just step out of college and be helpless and say, oh, no galleries taking my work, or I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to approach them, I'm shy, I don't want to feel like I'm selling my self. It's not, these are all very old-fashioned notions, and I think it's time to let go of them if you want to survive in this modern day world. Because earlier maybe there were Maharajas who patronized the arts and there was a kind of system. Now we're all, free rangers. The world is our oyster, and there's no geographical boundary either. Now I was approached last year by a gallery from France, online gallery. They found me, I didn't find them. And that's the other thing. Nice thing is now I no longer look up yellow pages. I don't find buyers or clients, they find me. So the tables have turned and the world is shrinking. We do live in a global village. We can sit here and say, I want my work to be seen everywhere from Mysore to Miami. That's my ambition, and I'm happy that I live in a time when that is possible. One of my childhood ambitions, was to build monuments. I wanted to be like the Emperor of Rome and build the Colosseum. So being a sculptor kind of helps me fulfill that vision in a small way, you know. These things that I build will last hopefully beyond my lifetime and be enjoyed by generations that come after me. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say, and I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you of course more than answered my question. And I think you're right in a way, because in today's context, art galleries, art museums, art dealers are no longer the gatekeepers of artists. Especially in today's the world of technology that we live in, artists have an option to directly put their works online and sell their works without an intermediary. There's also one other short question before I move on to Shivu. Doesn't that take away a bit of sensitivity of being an artist? You know, the thing about, the quality about an artist that we so dearly love, that raw, defenseless state that an artist is in. Does it take a bit of a charm away from the artist if he's, you know, sort of doubling up as a marketing person for his own works?
No, I think you're romanticizing the struggling artist stereotype, which I think is not, fair to the artist. You know,
Yeah.
so it's nobody wants to be Van Gogh and die without selling even a single artwork. You want your artwork to be celebrated. People should wait for your next series of work. You know, what's the point if you're struggling all the time?
Sure, I agree. Thank you so much, Romy, for those inputs. Quite interesting.